Anybody remembers what we discussed last week?
Prabhuji, we discussed the 10 offenses, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. We can remember some of them. Anybody remembers few of them?
Yes, Prabhuji. The first one is blasphemy the devotees.
Mm-hmm.
Then consider names of demigods and all equal to Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
Then disobeying the orders of the spiritual master. Then, questioning the Vedic literature.
Mm-hmm.
The fifth one is consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna as imagination. Then the sixth one is sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. I think there's a seventh one. I missed
Yeah.
the sixth one.
This one I
Then,
have shared the screen actually. In the screen it is there.
okay, Mata, okay, Prabhuji. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
Yes.
Then sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. And eighth is chanting as ritualistic activities. Ninth,
Mm.
instruct a faithless person about the holy name. And tenth, chant diligently and have faith in the chanting of the holy name.
Okay. Thanks, Mataji. So, anybody has any questions or doubts regarding this 10 offenses? Is it clear? Everything. So there is one more point. What is the root of all offenses? That also we discussed, right? Anybody remember that? Krishna, audible.
Prabhuji, the three things you said, no, Nama Prada, Nama Bhasha.
No, those are the three stages of chanting, right? So in this 10 offenses, there's one which is considered as one actually we did not mention now. That actually we discussed that is a root cause of all other offenses. So when one that offense we do, then all other offenses will automatically follow. Yeah,
Vaishnava Aparada Prabhuji.
not really. So Vaishnava is one of the offenses. That's true. That also is very dangerous. But today we'll discuss about that. So if you go back to the last session, right? So somewhere it is mentioned. Yeah, the offense is said to be the root of offenses. Here it is, last paragraph. One must make a constant effort to drive these thoughts. So basically, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that intention of distraction while chanting is the root of all offenses. Inattentive chanting, pramada. Remember? So, Rival devotees, do you remember? We discussed this, right?
No,
I
no,
think.
Prabhuji.
Last
No, not
class
in the
I
last
We
session. I
stopped
think
at the
last.
10. We stopped at the 10 offenses, Prabhuji.
No, this was discussed in the previous session. I think you were not. You missed that session.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So here actually in this session, actually this 10 offenses is not a rail session. We did it separately. So last session was Nama Brother, right? We discussed about the three levels of chanting. I think you were there. I think, na? Three levels of chanting you were there. So as part of that, the last topic was about this. To be inattentive while chanting the holy name. That Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that inattention or distraction while chanting is the root of all offenses. Distraction chanting produces type of illusion causing serious offense against the holy name and that are very difficult to overcome. The illusion leads to craving for wealth, woman, position, success, and even cheating. When these attractions cover the heart, the neophyte gradually loses interest in chanting the holy name. One must make a constant effort to drive these thoughts away from the mind and diligently follow the rules and Vaishnava etiquette. This offense is said to be the root of all other offenses and anarthas. It is also called pramada in Sanskrit. Literally, it means madness, for it is schizophrenic to ask Krishna to appear one hand and then to ignore him when he comes. This is why pramada means inattention. So this we have discussed. So I think we have discussed it for sure. Maybe some of you are not remembering. So basically, we gave the example, right? When you invite somebody like you're inviting prime minister or somebody is very elevated person to your house, and when he comes home, you just neglect him, don't take care or not pay any attention. So that's madness, right? Normally, a sane person will not do that. So similarly, when because we don't have faith in the holy name of the Lord, because it is told that the holy name is not different from Krishna, right? That's what actually when we take the holy name of the Lord, we have to understand that the Lord actually is present at that time. So but actually because we don't have faith, we just we just do it as mechanically, we just keep chanting, and our mind is actually always wandering in various materialistic ideas, thoughts and things like that, right? So that is why this is one of the this is the last offense. In the last offense there are two parts. Okay, one is that to maintain material attachment even after hearing, to maintain material attachment and not to have faith in the holy name even after hearing so many instructions on this matter. This is and first part, and to be inattentive while chanting is also an offense, like that it is mentioned. You can see, right? And to have complete faith, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. This is one part. Second part, it is also an offense to chant inattentively. So this second part is the what actually we discuss now, because actually, we are neglecting the Lord, and then we it becomes a what you call habit for us. Now we always become mechanically we chant, and the mind actually is not present, right? So basically, chanting, the process of mantra, right? It is called mantra. Mantra is that which trayade mana iti mantra. So that which can deliver the mind is mantra. So the one of the purpose of mantra is to actually deliver the mind. So one of the biggest obstacle for a living entity, right, to take up devotional service or any activity in the material world is extremely difficult. Like in the sense, what is the biggest challenge we face is from our mind only, because mind is that which is creating all the various conceptions, in our existence. The mind actually, if we discussed, I think, a lot of details about mind in the previous session, right? The mind has three primary functions, that is, thinking, willing, and feeling, right? So these are the three activities mind does: thinking, willing, and feeling. So mind, everything that actually we have, right? Because we are designed in such a way that we don't really think about this unless until somebody is really inquisitive. They don't really contemplate all these things. No, we just act out of instinct. We have a particular way of thinking. We completely think that I am this body, I'm so and so person, and we have some goals in life we want to enjoy, right? And then certain ambitions, etc. We try to continuously fulfill those ambitions, and then we don't really think, okay, what is mind, what is intelligence, what is ego? These things people doesn't have knowledge generally. Generally, people know that mind is there, but no, they don't really understand what is mind, how it is working, nothing. So that is why it is very important. So the mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is not a material sound, not like an ordinary mantra. But the idea of all mantra generally is to control the mind, especially the meditation, right? The idea of meditation is, so the mind, the biggest enemy of a living entity can be his mind, and the mind can also be his best friend, right? We saw it in Bhagavad Gita. That shloka Arjuna says Krishna, right? After he says that, no, Chandalam Himana Krishna Pramadi Balavadridam Tasyaham Nigraham Manye Vayorivas Dushkaram. He says that the mind is very wavery. No, actually Krishna tells Arjuna, no, how can you meditate, how can you do Ashtanga Yoga? But Arjuna says that this process which you have defined is extremely difficult for me to do, because mind, is difficult to control. He says that I can control a raging wind, no, but I can't control the mind. Chandalam Himana Krishna Pramadi Balavadridam. Right? It's like a mad, no, and then very strong and obstinate. Mind is very strong and obstinate. Balavadridam. Tasyaham Nigraham Manye Vayor Iva Sudashkaram. So it is more difficult to control than a raging wind. Arjuna is actually considered one of the most self-control person, but he's saying this. So the idea of this mantra is actually to really control the mind, right? The yogic process which is meant, Ashtanga Yoga, is also meant to control the mind. The whole idea is to control the mind actually by doing because there is a connection between the breath, life fires, the breathing process, and the mind. The mind can be calmed by actually doing yoga, pranayama, and other things. So all these various processes are first to bring control the mind. So controlling the mind is not the ultimate aim, right? Controlling the mind is one of the preconditions, or no, or a minimum condition before which actually we can make really progress, in a spiritual path. So that is the beginning, controlling the mind. So Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is actually the most powerful mantra, which is actually, because it is given by the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came in this particular incarnation, right, to deliver the conditioned souls, and the weapon which he's having is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? And then we have discussed last week and previous week about the various scriptural quotations that actually prove that Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the process for Kali Yuga, right? Every Yuga has different processes for emancipation or self-realization, and for Kali Yuga, it is chanting of the holy names, right? So, so the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is such that we don't have to really endeavor separately, to control the mind. If you just follow the process of devotional service, which is given by the acharyas, automatically our mind will get controlled. Similarly, also it is mentioned that all the good qualities which are found in the demigods, right? All the good qualities will manifest in a devotee, in a Vaishnava, automatically when he practices devotional service. We don't have to separate endeavor. So we just have to have faith. What is the basic qualification that is required is to have faith. in the words of the scriptures, the faith in the spiritual master, right? Faith in the faith acharyas. So one who have faith, he actually can easily attain the success in spiritual life. And when he follows the instructions of spiritual master, which is as per the scriptures, then automatically the controlling of the mind will happen, and automatically good qualities also will manifest in that Vaishnava. So that's what it is. So the point what we are trying to say is that why it is in a great offense to chant inattentively, right? Because unless until our mind is present in the chanting process, actually that process is not fully effective. Because the idea is to control the mind, right? If you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra by a mechanical way, just utilizing our tongue, lips, etc., using the throat and air, etc., we produce a sound. Right, and then we do that, but actually our mind is somewhere else. Mind is just let loose, no, just like a wild horse or something. Then actually the process is not fully effective, because the purpose of controlling the mind is not happening. This doesn't mean that we have to always focus or meditate on the chanting of the holy name. What is recommended by acharyas and no devotees is that we have to just listen to the mantra. That's what actually is required. Constantly we have to pay attention while we are chanting. Or another way of telling it is that our mood should be proper. We should be in a devotional mode, or a or a humble mood, and we should be contemplating about the Lord actually, right? So one of them process we can do. So what is the simplest thing which is required for people who are starting, or no, or neophytes like all of us, is to listen to the holy name. If you can do that, that we also already discussed. No, the thing is that we cannot do two activities, like no, we cannot listen to something and mind no can dwell on something else. This is very difficult. You can try out. One of the good example is that let's say when you're talking to some person, right? Maybe let's say you are teaching your child, or you are in a conversation with somebody. Let's say you're at home, and if when a phone call comes, right, and when you take the call, you cannot listen to the phone call as well as the person who is in front of you, right? Sometimes it happens that when you're talking on the phone, the other person who is in front of you, he want to tell something to you. Maybe he want to tell something, we have to tell to that person on the other hand, and he will be trying to tell you something, but actually you will not be able to listen to that and as well as other person. So it's not possible, right? That's the nature how we are defined design. Our design is that we can only listen to one sound actually at a time. Okay, so that is why when we try to listen to the chanting of the holy name, automatically our mind cannot think about something else. But the problem is that no, we very quickly our attention to the holy name sound, when you try to hear the holy name, that attention span is very less. No, like a for a moment we may listen, but within a few moments, our mind will go away from that listening process, and then mind will start wandering. So this is a actually it's a little always a challenge, really, to chant very attentively. But there are different ways by which we can improve our chanting. We have discussed already, right? Like for example, choosing a nice time, like a time which is more in rather sattva guna, right? Early morning time, for example. So that automatically provides you more attention, because that mode, it's a mode of goodness. Then environment where you chant, right? So and then yeah, getting up and chanting as the first activity. So different things and things when can help us to chant attentively. But the point we have to remember is that we may think that okay, inattentive chanting is not a big deal. No, what's the problem? Anyway, I'm chanting 16 rounds or 10 rounds, whatever rounds I'm chanting anyway. No, but actually the thing is that according to what acharyas have told, this is not a very it may appear very harmless, but actually it can have very detrimental effects in our progress of Krishna consciousness if you are completely neglectful while chanting. So it's very easy to say this, but no, very difficult to implement. But I think we should always remember, that's why we can everybody can come up with various techniques, no, and then you can see that there are so many different lectures you can see online on various seminars that have been done. They even do japa retreat, no, they actually go to some faraway place and only think about chanting for many days. So various kinds of mechanisms has been implemented in various places. So it is not definitely not a simple difficulty to overcome, right? It's definitely a challenging task. So, but nevertheless, we can come up with our own approach, right? We have discussed earlier while chanting, for example, no, just to have a small checklist kind of thing in front of us. We can always write down what are the things we should keep in mind, and continuously, try to bring the mind. Right? Like different things we can do. But and we have to really understand that we should not neglect, or we should not be inattentive while chanting, because once that do, then the tendency is that this becomes like a it become more and more a matter of fact activity, and more a mechanical activity that chanting becomes, and then we become neglectful to all other things also gradually. So that is why it is very very important that um, we should not be inattentive while chanting. Okay, what is so any questions are there in this point? everything is clear.
సార్ నా దగ్గరికి అడిగారు మొక్కలు ఎన్ని ఉన్నాయి, ఏంటి బాగుంది, ఏంటి పరిస్థితి అని అడిగారు సార్. ఒక 40 వరకు.
Okay. Yes, Chetan Prabhu, you want to say something?
Yes, Prabhuji. I have one question, Prabhuji. Like, only mind will think. Actually, when I hear from the Acharya Prabhuji, it is always says that they say that manmana mama bhakto. So always think of the Lord. So when you always thinking of the Lord, so all the nitya karma, nitya bhattas, and everything is actually the direction. Everything is given by the Lord itself. So that how it is actually means different from that mind only thinks, or the intelligent and we also think, probably.
No, so this is all technical matters, Chetan Prabhu. So see, that which is thinking is mind. Actually, that's how we can define the mind. That which can think is mind. Intelligence also a faculty which is, I know, very closely related to the mind. So for that, to understand it a little more clearly, we always look at that example of the chariot, right? What are the different the chariot example is given, right? There's a chariot which is driven by horses, and there's a traveler and a driver of the chariot, right? So in that analogy, so the chariot is actually the body of the living entity, which is actually capable of crossing over the material existence, and the senses are the horses. The horses actually try to different senses. We have actually five. We have five karmendriyas and five jnanendriyas, right? The jnanendriyas are the normal five senses according to the scientific process, right? Basically the eyes, ears, nose, etc., which are the windows to the world that we read, right? So these are the five what do you call, five knowledge occurring senses. So this is generally, so these five horses, you can think that they are different horses which are trying to run in different directions, right? If your horses are uncontrolled, they will create havoc. So these are the five senses which are actually trying to, the senses are trying to drag us, from to different bodies, because one is who is addicted to senses, he is known as a godas, and he will be drawn to different body, material bodies, based on his karma, because senses are actually the starting point, right? So senses are there. Then we have the rope, we actually which control the horse, the noose or whatever you call, right? Which actually is, this is actually called the mind. The mind actually is the medium by which, yeah, no, intelligence actually controls some senses. So intelligence is the driver is intelligence, and mind actually is the faculty by which actually the intelligence actually can control the mind, sorry, the senses, right? And then the person who is sitting in the chariot is the soul, is the actual traveler, right? So this analogy is given, but if you look at the definition, no, the mind is considered as the faculty which actually does the three activities: thinking, willing, and feeling. Okay, like that it is different. So it is quite difficult. So it's more technical to say, whether it is different or a part of it. As we can think that mind and intelligence are very close, very closely related. No, it cannot. It's very difficult to separate them independently. Like that we can think. Is it fine?
Yes, means yes, Prabhuji. I understand, Prabhuji, but I want to just dig deeper. Means like anyway, it is very difficult to control the mind of Prabhuji. So even Lord says that in like means udarita means don't degrade the mind. At least he is the only person who will bring you up. Uh, so means yeah, means at last is also a friend and also enemy, and means if we control the mind. So and even the philosophy means not says that you with the detachment and practice we can control the mind. So even I was thinking probably like why this much difficult means why the Lord has given this much difficult this one probably mind to win this mind probably.
Yeah, so see, basically this is the design. Now, see, if you have to, if a child has to be reformed, right? So it may appear for the child that it is very troublesome. For example, he has to study, right? Let's say a child does in Brahmacharya life in olden times, the child was supposed to get up early morning, right, and Brahma Muhurta, and then he has to take up the studies. So basically, many things are, whenever somebody has to be refined, it has to undergo a difficult process. For example, the gold, if gold containing impurities has to go put in fire to become refined. So basically, anything which actually is to become purified, any purification process undergoes there's some trouble and difficulty. And because the living entity is controlled, is actually contaminated in the material world because of so many millions of lifetimes they are here. So much of anarthas are there, and that is why the mind actually becomes more and more. It becomes more and more difficult to conquer the mind. So it is not that necessarily when the living entity comes, in the beginning, it may not have so much of contamination. The more the contaminations and vasanas it living entity acquires, the more actually it becomes difficult to control the mind. But at the same time, it is told that for a devotee, right? If you see the devotees are there, of course they will undergo some struggle. But compared to the other process, like for example, yoga process, actually in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned, right? Basically, that process is very difficult, troublesome, right? For the people who are embodied, the process of yoga is very difficult. So those are artificial ways by which you can controlling the mind. But in the case of bhakti, we now, because we are trying to analyze what is happening, we are going into deep, actually seeing that what is mind, what is intelligence, etc. But a person who is very simple and pure hearted, no, he doesn't have to really know all these things. No, if he is just having faith, and he chants the holy name, Maha Mantra, and perform the devotional service, then the process is very very easy, right? For a person who is intelligence is very complicated, no, or very sophisticated mind, for him actually the process becomes difficult. But for a person who is simple hearted, and such a person, it is easy. But for all people, whoever, whenever one develops faith, right, then actually the process becomes easy. So in Bhagavad Gita, it also mentioned that Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshavagamam Dharmam Susugum Kartum Avyayam is mentioned. Susugam means it actually, it's very joyfully performed. So the difficulties of we are facing now is because of so much of contamination that is there. But as one devotee progresses, right, and then he have start having developing more and more faith, then the process becomes easy. We also discussed about the different stage of devotional service, right? Like starting with Shraddha, Ado Shraddha, Tada Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivrti, Nishtha, Ruji, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. So till the stage of Anartha Nivrti, right? It is very difficult actually. That stage, till another stage, we will have struggles, more struggles. But once you cross the Anartha Nivrti stage, then then the process is not so much difficult actually. Then gradually, it becomes automatic and natural for us, because it is mentioned that this is the natural condition of living entity. Jivara Swarup Bhava Krishna Nityadas, right? So the natural tendency of the living entity is to serve the Lord. So now, because we are forgotten the process of of serving the Lord for many many lifetimes, we find it very difficult to again come back. Just like somebody who is hospitalized for a very long period in the hospital, right? He is lying in the bed for months. For like then actually for him, once he comes out of the bed, no, he actually has to struggle. He cannot walk immediately. Again, he has to learn the process of walking. Okay, so you will have to again practice. So the more you spend the time in such a condition, the more actually it will take time for you to again, again make again feel that it is natural. So right now we feel that this devotional service is an artificial imposition on us, and it is not natural. Then and that's why all the difficulties we face. But once actually we start doing it, practicing it for longer and longer time, then it becomes natural for us. We don't have to endeavor separately, or struggle to do this process. So yeah, just have to have faith. Of course, I mean, since Arjuna has told that it is difficult for there's no doubt about it. And the Lord actually for purifying us, he has put a process. If you are very easily, see, we have discussed the fundamental philosophies like this, that because the living entity doesn't want to, and he had a desire to enjoy independent of the Lord, right? In spiritual world, because everybody, all devotees are serving the Lord, in actually love and reverence, in Golokayan and in other spiritual planets. So the living entity, when he desires develops a desire to become independent, right? That is why he is coming here. So now the process in the material world is such that he has to be completely thoroughly convinced that that actually I have to serve the Lord. That is why there is so much of hurdles and obstacles. And maybe the Lord has designed the living entity's material body and mind in such a way that unless and until we completely become purified, you will not go back. Because if you are a half cooked devotee, and you try to go back to spiritual world, again you will cause difficulties there, right? So the Lord will set up a process by which it is ensured that only somebody is completely thorough, and he's fully convinced and completely purified, he will only be able to go back to Krishna. So all other people will be bewildered by so many. So in the material world, even in the Vedic scripture, there are so many things that can bewilder the person who reads it, right? And then we have discussed earlier also, right? And the conversation between Narad Muni and Vasudev, Narad Muni actually chastises Vasudev, saying that you have actually given importance to Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha in Bhagavad Gita, sorry, in Vedic scriptures, and you have bewildered the living entities, thinking, making to feel them that these activities are more important. You have not sufficiently glorified the Supreme Lord, actually, and the devotional service, which is the topmost process. So basically, everything in the material world, you can see it is designed in a such a way that actually, it will take you far away from Krishna. Especially in Kali Yuga, that these are more. So as part of that, it may be also the design that the mind has to be in a particular way. Otherwise, actually, very quickly you may think something, everything is okay, and then you go back. So, but you are not learned your lesson properly. You are not convinced fully, right? So maybe that also is a possibility, Prabhu. But we can only speculate, right? We cannot understand what is the Lord's mind. No, Lord actually is always completely independent. He is free to do whatever he likes, and we can't really question him why he has created the material world, or why the living entity is like this, why this animal is there, why do we need crocodiles? No, without crocodiles also the world would have been okay. So these things are very difficult to ask, and we not never get an answer actually for that kind of questions. It's difficult to get.
Oh, okay, but that is their design, or Prabhuji, the becoming a cockroach or other animals.
Yeah, so
Means
we
like,
can say that living entities desire is to have such a mind, so that you can enjoy in the material world. We can think like that also. So everything is created by the will of the living entities. The Lord has created material world only for the living entities, right? So they have so many kind of desires, and then to have those kind of enjoyment, they need a particular kind of mind like this, maybe.
oh, okay, Prabhuji, okay,
We
Prabhuji.
can't get
But
we don't think, I don't think we'll get a scriptural answer, no, for this why mind is created like this. I think we may not find it easily.
yes, Prabhuji. And one more thing, Prabhuji, at the time of death, no, Prabhuji, when we means Lord says that when you means remembers me at the time of death, you will come back to me, right? So that means that to achieve the stage, mind need to be controlled, no, Prabhuji, or is it how it is, Prabhuji? Like mind has to
Yeah.
be
See,
controlled,
basically,
or
it's always told that's what artificially controlling the mind is difficult. So we have to just follow our acharyas. See, everything is given by the scriptures and acharyas. We have to follow. We are following a parampara, right? So every parampara is like a path, or a ladder to the spiritual world. You can think orthodox parampara. So we are in the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya parampara, where our acharyas have left, no, let down or given actually the rules and regulations that we have to follow. So if you just have faith in the acharya, spiritual master, and the scriptures, that actually we follow the process. That's sufficient, Prabhu. So the mind, see, there are all technical things. See, the mind, it is mentioned, we have the gross body, which is consisting of the five elements, earth, water, air, fire, either, which is the Panchabhuta, or no, or the Sthula Sharira, right? And then there is something called the Sukshma Sharira, which is the subtle body, which consists of mind, intelligence, and ego, which is also material, they say, right? The mind, the body, gross body, and subtle body, both are material. And mind, intelligence, ego is part of the subtle body, so the subtle body can survive even with the gross body. So this understanding is different from the scientific, so-called modern scientific understanding. So basically the point what actually we understand from the acharyas is that even if we are not able to remember externally, from a material perspective, somebody who's observing a person, or a person who is about to leave his body, he may be externally unconscious, right? But actually there are realms of the living, realms which are existing, which is not accessible to a conditioned soul. Actually, for example, we have discussed the example of this out of body experience, right, or near death experience. So in this kind of out of body experience, etc., it is documented and scientifically proven that no, apparently the person is completely unconscious, but actually he is still able to, he is still able to pursue the world. For example, there are stories or incidences where the person who is undergoing an operation, right, he is on complete anesthesia is given, and he's completely unconscious. None of his senses are working. No, neither the eyes, nose, nothing is working. And after the operation, this kind of people, they give experiences saying that no, they were able to hear what actually doctors were talking. They were able to see from outside the body what the operation is being done. And also they are not bound by the material laws. They are able to see things which are happening in other building, somewhere else outside the building, etc. So these kind of things are documented. So this just gives us a glimpse that there are many things which actually is beyond our perception. We can't see or understand them, comprehend it. So the point is that externally or scientifically or clinically, we may say the person is unconscious, but it is possible that no, still his subtle body is able to pursue things, right? So if your impressions are very strong, and if you have performed bhakti, throughout our life as much as possible, then actually somehow or other, no, we will be still able to pursue the Lord or remember the Lord. That is one way of looking at it. And another way of looking at it is simple way of looking at it is that many of the spiritual masters and acharyas they have told is that, because this question has been asked by so many people, again and again many times. So what they say is that and the Lord also has told, actually I think Kulashekar Alvar, no, he's a devotee of the Lord, and he says that, no, suppose now I'm healthy and hale, and now I can remember you. Let me die immediately so that I can remember you, like that. So in that conversation, it happens that, no, like I think it's, I'm not sure whether it's Kulashekar Alvar or some other devotee. He asked the Lord that, no, suppose if I'm not able to remember you at the time of death, what is my fate then? Then actually the Lord will say that you don't worry, whether you will be able to remember me, because you have done so much for me. I will ensure that I will remember you. So the point is that ultimately it's more important that the Lord remembers us, no, than we remembering the Lord. So the point, so we have to be just honest and sincere, and then try our best, engage in devotional service, do our best, and no, and the Lord actually will take care, whether you are able to remember in this way or that way. The Lord, as long as the Lord remembers you, He will never forget you. Then actually your success is guaranteed. So it is not just a technical matter, no, that somehow or other just remember the Lord at the time of death and everything is successful. No, it is not like that. It is more about how we live our life, entire life, how we mold our consciousness, how we become purified, and how we become perfect. That actually is what ultimately makes you successful. So though Bhagavad Gita says that, no, andakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram ye prayari samadbhavam yadina satra samshaya yamem bhavi smaran bhavam tatadante kalevaram tam tamevedi gaundaya sararat bhava. So this sloka actually tells that exactly, right? But actually this Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary, study or preliminary understanding of the basics. It's like a basics of spirituality, or the soul, science of soul, we can call it. This fundamental understanding. It's a basic philosophy for people who are starting to understand the philosophy. But actually, as we go more and more deeper, into the philosophical topics and in understanding the bhakti, then we see that there are much more dimensions, right? And according to that. There are more things like this, actually what I mentioned, right? The Lord actually he is not a robot or something, no, or he just refines some rules and regulations, and he just strictly trying to, even if you make a small mistake, you will just let you down. It's not like that. Lord actually is a person, no? And then he has also different feelings, like, because Lord has feelings and other things, no, that's why we also have it, because we are like his reflections. So he's always anxious that we should go back to him, and he's always creating different opportunities for us, so that we can go back. Somebody who's sincere, somebody who's completely materially engrossed or demoniac in mind, who wants to only enjoy, for them the Lord will not interfere in their life, because they want to do that, and Lord gives them the freedom. But somebody who is sincere, and he has understood that, okay, this is not the place, everything is temporary here, and I'm fed up with this, and I want to go back the Lord. So anybody who thinking like that, for such a person, the Lord will find out always by which, he can take him back to him. So the Lord is just waiting for an opportunity. So he is not, no, okay, this person throughout the life he remembered me, but now last moment, no, he's unconscious and he's not remembering me. Oh, let him continue here, like that. His Lord is not like that. He is known as Bhakta Vatsala. That he's extremely merciful to his devotee. So he's always looking for a chance how I can save this person. And all the spiritual masters, they are also, his representatives, right? They are also always constantly looking for opportunity to deliver more and more souls, in a compassionate way. So we have to understand the overall principles and spirit, no, rather than the technical aspects of it, Prabhu. So just have faith in the scriptures, in the holy names, follow the acharyas, their, words, then everything will be auspicious.
Yes, Prabhuji. I got your point, Prabhuji. But means like you told no, Prabhuji. If we don't remember, God, Lord will remember. But he will be always remembering us, no, Prabhuji. Means he's with us, no, Prabhuji. As a Paramatma, he is with us. So
Yes,
he'll be always remembering us and always
he will
guiding
not.
us. And,
That is true. So that is what Krishna has told. Ye yada mam prapadyante tam sadeva bhajamiham. Mama vartamanu martande manushya partha sarvasha. So he will remember. He will remember you if you want him to remember you, right? He will not remember you if you don't want him to remember you. So ultimately, all that matters is what is our consciousness. How much actually we are, we are surrendered to Krishna. How much we are craving. How much we are, yearning to go back to him. So the extent to which we are surrendered, to that extent you will remember. So just because Paramatma is there doesn't mean that, no, he will just take everybody to Krishna spiritual world, because Paramatma, it is mentioned that Andandarastha Paramanu Chayandarastam. No? He says that even in the atoms, no, the Paramatma is present. He is present everywhere actually. That's what, the Mayavadi says, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahmam, right? So everything is Brahman. No? Everything is spiritual energy of the Lord, because nothing is separate from Lord. So the Lord is present in every atom. No? Every living entity is there in the heart of every living entity, and is also present in the atoms. So just because Paramatma is present, that doesn't guarantee, no, automatically guarantee that everybody will go back to spiritual world. So he will see what is your desire. No, that example is given, no, that two birds sitting on the tree, right? So he is always watching and seeing each and every desire on your heart. What is your, what is that you want to do? What is your, thoughts? What is your process? What is that your desire? And accordingly, he will remember you. So if you are a sincere servant of the Lord, you completely surrender to him, then the Paramatma will remember you, or he will give you the remembrance. Sarvasya jaham hridhi sannivishto mata smriditnanam abokanam cha. Right? So I am situated in everybody's heart. Sarvasya jaham hridhi sannivishto, in the heart. Matta Smriti Jnanam Abohanam. The remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, everything comes from me. Right? He is giving everything. But everything will depends on what is our desire, how much we are concerned. So it is not that all of us are in the same. No, like I mean to say, there are so many devotees, right? There are, they say Ananda Godi Vaishnava Vrinda. So there are millions of devotees actually. But it is not that every devotee is in the same stage of progress, right? There are different stages we saw. No? The three basic stages are there: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. And then still there are nine stages actually. We saw that Shraddha, Anartha Nivrti, like that it goes. No, Adho Shraddha, Radha Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivrti, Nishtha, Rujya, Sakti, Bhava, Prema. So this is nine stages actually. So there are so many, and in every stages, there are further subdivisions. So the knowledge of bhakti, or the information about bhakti is very vast actually. There are so much details which we may not be knowing, and it is not necessary that we should know all the details also. Right? That is which is required is sincerity. So that's what, the bhakti also is divided into, like Shuddha Bhakti, then Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti. So when the devotional service is pure, that Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadhyanavridam, Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Ruttama. So if the devotional service is pure, there is no intention in the heart of the devotee than to serve the Supreme Lord, nothing else. He doesn't want liberation. He is not interested in learning so many things. He is not interested in the process of karma. He doesn't want liberation. So it's completely pure without any motivation, unmotivated and uninterrupted. This is pure devotional service. So such a pure devotee is different from another devotee, who is interested to learn things. He's taking up devotional service not completely because he is completely, attached to the Lord, but he is very much interested to gain knowledge. He want to read all the scriptures. So this is not completely pure devotion. So like that, there are so many different classifications, and also there are different gradations of devotees. So actually, going back to Krishna, spiritual world is not at all an easy process. It's one of the most difficult thing, and it is the highest thing in the human life, right? The most what do you call, the topmost thing to achieve definitely will not be the most easiest thing, right? Definitely there will be difficulties there, right? So we have to understand that to come to that complete pure stage, the prema or bhava, it is very very not at all easy, Prabhu. So that's what actually somebody, we may be, we may have a small desire now, we may have a little bit taste, we may be in anartha with this stage. So in this stage actually it's very difficult that, if you die like this, it's very difficult that we will go back to Krishna. It may not happen. We have to cross through all these different stages. We have to reach at least bhava or stage actually, to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. So that it's not very simple, like we may think, like, okay, Paramatma is there, he knows what we are doing. So Paramatma will completely help you. So we have to be very sincere, and the Paramatma is completely going to help you. So if you have to be completely sincere and fully focused, then Paramatma will completely help you to make fast progress actually, so that we can reach the pure stage as early as possible. So it all depends on various different factors. Where are we? What is our real desire? Right? If you have a desire, if your desire, or if you're completely purified, and you are thinking always that, no, when will I come back to Krishna? I don't have any material desire. I don't want anything at all in this material world. I don't want anything, completely nothing. Right? That way, that kind of person, in this case, Paramatma will may take him back. We have to come to that stage without any zero attachment to anything.
Yes, Prabhuji. I got the answer, Prabhuji. That is means like this means Lord will not never stop us to come. Means we need to desire it. That's it, Prabhuji. Yes,
Yes,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
we have to be completely sincere. It definitely it's a long process, Prabhu. But actually, once you are in the right, once you are in the process, once you are in the track to go back, right? Then actually, it's just a matter of time, right? But first you have to be coming to the track rightly. We have to choose the right track which actually goes there. It's actually our endeavor and, our sincerity, and mainly most important quality is, rather than our endeavor, the most important aspect that actually makes us successful is the mercy of other Vaishnavas, because that is the only way we can actually make progress. By If it was only our endeavor, then would have already gone back long back, right? It will not happen like that. It is only by the other devotees' mercy, pure devotees' mercy, spiritual masters mercy, Vaishnavas mercy. That is the only thing actually which actually, makes us successful in devotional life. But all these things are difficult for us to understand when we are, in materially conditioned, right? We are used to different concepts in the material world, and the spiritual concepts are not really compatible with the material understanding. So we may find all these things sometimes difficult to understand, or comprehend. So again, ultimately, all that is important is the faith. The faith should be really, we should make our faith very, very firm. Complete faith in spiritual master or Vaishnavas. That actually is the only qualification which is required. And then if you have complete faith and you follow their instructions, then actually we get the success which is required. Okay, devotee. So I feel that today, we may not be able to take this topic, or we may not be able to do justice to the topic if you take, because we may not be able to spend enough time, because already 1 hour is gone, right? So, what do you guys? Sorry, what did devotees say? Should we continue this, or we should some question answer maybe?
You can, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, any pastimes you can share about our Guru Maharaj or Srila Prabhupada, since as you were mentioning, there is no time for today's class, Prabhuji.
I don't know. May not be really prepared to talk about. I don't know. I'm not sure, Prabhu Mataji. If you have some question, maybe I can answer
Uh,
about the spiritual master or something. Whatever I know, I
Hare
can tell.
Krishna,
Yes,
yeah,
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So in one pastime of Srila Prabhupada, I happened to read one pastime, but I could not understand actually. So maybe you can just give some explanation. In one
Yes, Prabhu.
pastime,
Right.
in one pastime, Srila Prabhupada, someone asked him that why you are developing so many temples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of developing so many temples for humanity, you can develop some hospitals or the, uh, some ashrams like
Mm-hmm.
for orphan people or for old age people.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of that, why are you doing these temples? So that would be more better. And the answer Prabhupada was given that I could not understand. So if you remember that incident, can you explain that?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, Prabhu, what is the answer. I remember actually recently, many times this kind of question is asked to Prabhupada. Like for example, why you do need to have so much of material opulences? Like many reporters when they meet Prabhupada, they ask, why are you, if you are a sannyasi, why are you traveling in such expensive cars, Rolls Royce cars, or why do you need such a expensive, very posh temple? These kind of questions, many reporters and many people ask Prabhupada actually every time. So compared, so if we want to, so you could have, for example, you can build hospitals, right? So this question, I think some of you should answer actually. I will answer last, but I think all of you should know the philosophy by now. So why it is important to build a temple of the Lord as compared to building a hospital or some other charity institution? What do you guys, what do you devotees think?
Yeah, I mean, as what I understood, I think it is not a pure understanding, but still, what I will share. I understood that just developing these hospital or ashrams like for people like old age people or something like that, it is just a temporary solution to these miseries, and the ultimate or the root cause to get out of the miseries, the ultimate solution is only to have these temples actually. So that's what I understood.
Yeah. And the others would like to say, see, sometimes Prabhupada will give answers. For example, see, if some reporter is asking a question, right? So Prabhupada may not be able to explain everything in the short. No, it's a short conversation, right? So he may just give some answer which actually they will not understand what it is, and we may also not understand because he cannot completely explain the philosophy, right? Why it is important. So he may just give one short answer, which actually need more analysis to understand, or we devotees may be able to understand that answer, but he may not be able to put everything in one shot. So that also may be the reason that some of the answers, in a conversation like this or in a reporter discussion, we may not be able to understand answer. He may tell something like, for example, so one of the reporter asked Prabhupada, no, like, where do you get all the money? So much of money is required, right? Where do you get it? So Prabhupada will just say Krishna is giving us. That's all he'll tell. So the reporter will not understand anything. He'll tell who is Krishna, like, or no, even if he knows Krishna, he can't understand how Krishna is actually giving the money. But we devotees can understand how Krishna will give the money, right? Prabhupada is basically meaning to say that we are depending on the Lord, and no, Lord will provide us everything what we need. That's actually what the intent of this. So similarly, Prabhupada gives answers which actually sometimes we may find it difficult. But if you exactly have the point conversation, then probably we can look into it. But the philosophy or the principle is the same, Prabhu. why the answer, I think other devotees will tell actually. Who wants to tell more? Sushil Prabhu already answered, but others also put their perspective. Why building an temple is more important. Anybody else want to try?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
The way I see it, not everyone gets the knowledge of Lord through preachers or through what to say, Prabhuji, can understand once we go into this satsanga and everything. Some of them, when they see the deity, because the Archavigraha has so much power in them, when doing namaskara to them or taking prasada from that temple, where the devotees, the mood of devotees are so much into Krishna prema and the prasadam that they cook or the devotees, that energy there will help in some transformation in either or few people, Prabhuji. So that might be also a reason for building so many temples.
Yes, Mataji. So actually, the temple is non-different from a preach. So temple is also a preaching center. That's one way of looking at it. And in the beginning, Prabhupada built a temple, only for devotees. Actually, it is not necessary, of course, to attract other people. But temple was a necessity that so much devotees are, becoming serious about Krishna consciousness. Though, in the beginning, Prabhupada's concept was that all serious devotees, right? They should stay in the temple. Whether and then generally, like mostly brahmacharis and sannyasis, they will stay in temple. And after some time also, Prabhupada want everybody, even grihasthas also to stay in the temple. So the temple actually is one perspective, that because that is a shelter of all the devotees who are involved in the preaching mission. And yeah, as you told, it is also a place where everybody, whoever comes to the temple, they are actually purified, because it is mentioned that knowingly or unknowingly, when a person worships Lord Vishnu, right, then that person, even once actually a person comes to a Vishnu temple, then the Lord will never forget that person. He never let that person go completely. He will always be behind that person. So this devotional service already started when actually he takes darshan of Lord Vishnu. In India also, we have so many temples, right? People actually go to every temple. Today I go to like Shani Deva temple, no, Saturday, then no, Rayappa temple, then Monday I will go to some other temple, Tuesday to Ganesha temple. So in that process, they also sometimes visit Vishnu temple. And when a person goes to Vishnu temple and sincerely prays to the Lord, and the Lord will take notice of that person. And then his spiritual life has started. One way we can think like that. So that benefit also is there, Madhu. That's right. Chetan Prabhu,
Uh,
want to say? Yeah.
yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Why not, Prabhuji? Means that is the Lord desire, and temple is an holy dham, no, Prabhuji.
Mm.
Every means you can have a holy dham in your means in a place, and means where means, as you told, Prabhuji, that is the it is already purified.
Yes.
So that is one thing, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Uh,
That's true. Sushil Prabhu, so basically, another way of looking at it is that see, a hospital will cure the disease of the heart, right, or the mind. But actually, a temple or a spiritual organization is a hospital which cleans the disease of the soul. That actually is one of the simple way of understanding it. So we have to decide what is important. Is the body important or the soul important? Because devotees understand that soul is more important, we actually are treating the soul rather than the temporary body. Because temporary body, any treatment done or any what you call makeup or anything which actually we do to better the temporary material body is ultimately has a very short effect. Till the person dies. That's all. After that, actually starts all over again. So the temples and spiritual organizations are the hospitals for the soul, conditioned souls, to purify them. And other hospitals are all like, no, it's only for the body, right? We are very well aware of that. So Prabhupada actually Prabhupada definitely, that's the philosophy behind his idea. Right? He is completely convinced that the only way to deliver all the conditioned souls, is by actually preaching. And for preaching, we need temple, right? Temple, two ways of preaching. One, as I told, to shelter all the devotees, they have to stay. They need the sadhana. They need to do the deity worship for all the devotees who are serving, and also for all the people who visit from outside. A temple actually is a preaching center. When somebody comes to temple, devotees preach to them. And also the deities actually, of course, taking darshan of the deities is so much purifying, right? They become purified. So all these different aspects are there, Prabhu. In that, is it okay, or some more these things are there in that question?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's what actually I saying. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay, good. So anybody else other questions?
Prabhuji, one question, Prabhuji, like I was asking this question to means other Prabhuji also. So here, Prabhuji, like the purpose of our life is to do devotional service, now, Prabhuji, like a loving devotional service, now, Prabhuji.
Mhm.
Uh, and even means Lord has created us so many living entities, billions of entities. So why Lord is not got satisfied with the gopis, like means around hundreds of or 200 of this living entities, probably means who is means more dedicated to, so he's keep on means uh, created so many living entities, no, probably, so means so many souls. That is why, probably I wanted to know that.
Mhm.
Yes.
So if you want perfect answer, we have to ask Krishna only, because he only will be able to tell. See why, as I told you some time back, no, why Lord has done something, no, it's more not for us to understand. It we can understand it, especially because we are in the condition stage, right? See, our all every understanding or every attempt for us in the condition stage to understand the transcendental activities of Lord actually will not be successful, right? Because we always estimate everything from our experience, our material perception, right? And this material perception is not correct. No? It is a false, it's a perverted reflection of a spiritual thing. So everything, every of our conception is actually flawed, no? And then we are trying to estimate the Lord's behavior and his activity by our flawed no, perception. So we can never understand, even if the Lord explains, even Lord appears before you and he tries to explain to you, you will not understand still. No, understand that we are elevated to the transcendental platform, and our complete our ignorance is removed, and no, our false ego is completely destroyed, and we come to the transcendental spiritual platform or Shuddha Tattva. We cannot understand the Lord's activities, even if the Lord explains to you, or no, or sometimes pure devotees may have. See, there are pure devotees, right? We discuss about different stages like no Bhava, Prema, and topmost stages. So somebody who's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his, no, he was in the Mahabhava state, no, like completely very top, the topmost actually, even beyond Bhava, Prema. She, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken the mode of Srimati Radharani. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's behavior, according to the material people estimation, like they were thinking that he is mad. Actually, no, he is not behaving like ordinary people. He was behaving like a madman. Sometimes, no, he was in the end, towards the end of his pastimes in Jagannath Puri, he was staying in that Gambira, no, like a small room, and in the night, actually, he used to hit his head against the wall, and he used to try to run away from the place, and always used to cry and lament in the night. So these activities, how will you explain? According to our estimation, is no material estimation which we are in, we think that he's mad. Actually, something is gone completely is mad. So we cannot, a conditioned soul cannot understand even the pure devotees' behavior. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is one, but actually there are many devotees, like even Gaur Govind Maharaj, the pure devotee of the Lord. For example, Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, he's undergoing so many difficulties now. No, so somebody may, from material perspective, you may think, okay, he's just an ordinary person. Why he's to undergo so much of difficulties? He's struggling a lot. He cannot stand up, walk. So we can't understand. We can't understand the pure devotee's behavior itself. Then what to speak of Lord's Krishna's plan or Krishna's behavior? It is completely impossible for us to understand, right? Even if advanced devotee, see Lord Brahmaji is saying in Bhagavatam, right? He says that no, there may be so many people who may be claiming to know that no, they know Krishna, right? But for I can tell that I don't know anything about Krishna. And I told that no, in the due course of time, the philosophist and the scientist, they may be able to count all the atoms or all the sand, all the how many sands are there in the all the earth, or they may be able to do so many great things they may be able to, but then still they cannot understand Krishna. No, it is mentioned in Brahma Samhita, Pandastu Kodi Sadavatsara Sambragamyo Vayorada Vimanaso Munibungavanam. Right? He's saying that Pandastu Kodi Sadavatsara Gamyo. Right? Even for millions and millions of years, one actually the great yogis, no, they are able to travel in the speed of mind. Pandastu Kodi Sadavatsara Sambragamyo Vayoradavi Manaso Munibungavanam. So even if you travel in the speed of wind, air, or even if they travel in the speed of mind, they cannot actually read the spiritual abode of Goloka Vrindavan. So this is an symbolic meaning of saying that we cannot understand Krishna by whatever means we have, right? So these are different aspects. It's really difficult to understand. But on the other hand, one aspect we can look also into that. You mentioned that gopis are like some. I mean, you told 200 something. You told, right, some count.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
What is the 200?
I mean, few means means I assumed like for example like you want that
Yeah.
there's an
See,
assumption.
it is told that no. See, the number of gopis are in billions, not millions. Billions of gopis are there in spiritual world. It is mentioned actually, right? Even at the time of Rasa dance also, it is told that so many millions and millions of gopis actually came were present in the Rasa dance in when Krishna performed the pastime in Vraja, right, Prince? So it is mentioned that the material realm and the spiritual realm, no, they actually merged, right? No, and then it was actually the spiritual world actually which manifested when the Lord performed his pastime in the mid. So actually, it is mentioned that there are billions of gopis which are who are there in the no in this Brahma Samhita also it is mentioned, right? What is that actually? There's a Lakshmi Sarasam. What is that? The shloka is that actually. So that says that millions of gopis or Lakshmis are actually serving the Lord. So the number of gopis are unlimited. Nobody can really, nobody has a track of it. And it is mentioned that the living entities in the spiritual world are so many times, so many millions of times more than the living entities in the material world. So the majority of the living entities are actually pure devotees or pure devotees of the Lord and they are in the spiritual world. And the living entities that are in the material world, no, considering all the living entities, 84 lakh species, is very small, very small fraction of the total number of living entities. That is what actually Shastras mention, no, according to the statistical aspect of it. But whatever it is, we cannot understand why the Lord has done something. No, he's doing everything for his pleasure that we can know, and he always is called Rasaraj. No, he's actually the king of all the rasas, or different rasas, and then he's always he's want to always reciprocate with his devotees. He want different varieties because the Lord actually is interested in having so many varieties. That is why the living entity we also want different varieties. Now, that is why the somebody who is actually looking after Brahman realization, right, who merged into the absolute Brahman, they are not completely satisfied because there is no variety in Brahman. The living entities always want variety, and because Krishna is the fountainhead of all the living entities, of course we can think that I is unlimitedly, he is looking for different varieties, and then Lord has created all this, variegated creators, and we can't understand fully the Lord's thing. Okay, that's what actually I can say, bro.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, bro. Okay, do you have any other questions are there? Chitramati, you're not completely silent.
No questions, Prabhuji.
Okay. Sushil, bro, you want to say something?
Yeah, one question regarding this Krishna Sevak paper. So, what is the maximum time that I have to submit this paper, Prabhuji? Or it is already that time is already
I'm not sure,
informed.
bro. I have to check with somebody else. So what they put in the group might be, now. What is the last day they put? Anybody knows? For the Shiksha papers? Chetan, bro, you might have seen, huh? You remember what's the time? Revati Mataji, do you know?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I believe it is tomorrow, 20th Prabhuji, but I don't know the time. I heard it is as 20th is the last day to submit the paper, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Mataji.
You will be able to complete, no?
Yeah, actually, still, yeah, I'll complete. Yeah, today I will complete. Yeah.
Yeah. Not possible, you will let me know, bro. We'll see what to do. But you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
try
sure.
to complete as much as possible, as well as possible.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, dear. So we can, I think, utilize the time, devotees. If you have any questions, whatever till now, what all things we discussed, or any other topics also, if I'm able to know, if I know that, I can try to answer. Like you may have some doubts or questions, right? We can utilize the opportunity to discuss. Anybody has Bharti Mataji, Chitra Mataji, or anybody, Yodi Mataji?
Prabhuji,
Hmm.
I have one question on this one, Prabhuji, on Bhagavad Gita sloka. So, means Lord says that with my mind I have created seven Sapta Rishis and previous that four Rishis and all the in this whole world, all this world, they are there. This one means what is Prabhuji? Sons and daughters means progenesis. So And this is what Lord told in Bhagavad Gita. But where did Brahma created probably this thing?
Where did Brahma? Can you? Last part I didn't understand, bro.
The last part is that where means there is no role in the Brahman, no Prabhuji, to creation of this this one.
Brahma, Lord Brahma.
Yeah.
No, Lord Brahma is original progenitor actually. In Srimad Bhagavatam, no, I think we will find more details about it. So first, say Lord Brahma is the he's the Parampita, like or he's the first progenitor in the material world. From Brahma only, all the Saptarishis actually. So Lord might have told like that, but I think from a practical perspective, see, Krishna is actually the Brahma is a secondary creator, and the primary creator is actually Lord actually. Lord in the form of maybe like Mahavishnu, right? Karanodaya Vishnu, and then further after that. Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu is known as Hiranyagarbha, right? Brahmaji is known as Hiranyagarbha because he is born from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So he is the primary creator, and Lord Brahma is actually secondary creator. So this rishis, many of the rishis like Bhrigu and all are actually sons of Brahmaji only. So Lord might have created like he might have Lord might have explained that like this from his different parts all these people have come, but actually practically Brahma was their father. These rishis and all Sapta rishis. We
Prabhuji,
can check
but
it in Bhagavatam. We can check, bro. So Krishna directly doesn't create these rishis and all. He's the, as I mentioned, he is the he's Brahmaji is the primary secondary creator through which immediate cause and efficient cause they say, right? Immediate cause is Lord Brahma, and maybe his children and grandchildren and things like that. So see, Brahmaji was meditating on initially once Brahma was created, there is nothing. He was complete. It was mentioned that it's complete darkness. No, and then he was trying to find out, where he came from. He goes through the lotus stem and all the planetary systems. He cannot find her. And finally, Lord becomes merciful and he reveals him, that the Vedic knowledge. Dene Brahma Grade Adikave, right? And then Lord, he only hears the word called tapa, that to meditate. And then Brahmaji meditates actually for many, many millions of years. And then, then only the Vedic knowledge is revealed to him, and then he starts creation. So his duty was to do entire creation, everything. All the species was created by him. All these things are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in more detail. How the different species came into existence, what were the different species created, what is the order of creation. All these things are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita is only like just basically a glimpse. So the same. No, there are two ways of thinking, right? For example, a government may say that, no, I am the father of all the citizens, right? He may say like that. It's more symbolic, but actually he is not directly the father of all the citizens. But then there are different people actually in the kingdom, and no, they are actually the children. The indirectly these person is children of their father, whoever is the father. So that way we have to understand this.
okay. Means Brahma is the one of the Sapta Rishi, Prabhuji.
No. But Brahma is actually the first creator. He's the first person, and I think the rishis are all his children. So maybe directly or indirectly, maybe I don't know, the first generation or second generation, I don't know. So for example, see, Rudra is one of the form, right? Rudra is actually born from Brahma. Then actually, the Maruts, it is explained different creation actually. For example, the four Kumaras, and the four Kumaras actually, we know that part, no? The four Kumaras actually was created directly. They were born from Brahma, from the mind, because Brahma did not have any partner in the beginning, right? So everything he created actually like by mind, subtly, and the Kumaras actually were not ready to. Brahma will tell them to, you have to increase the population, and then they were not ready because they were already liberated from the birth. So they will not listen to him, and then Brahmaji becomes angry. So like that it is mentioned. So like that Brahma creates, the first generation is created, and then he'll ask the first generation to create more like that, and then entire population is created. Then Aditi and Kashyapa, right? That is the one couple, and then Diti and Aditi, right? Like that Devatas and Asuras. Actually, their dynasty will start. Like that is all are actually everybody is coming from Brahmaji. Even Narad Muni it is mentioned, right? Like that.
Oh, Babaji, yes, Babaji. I mean, like, I want to understand 10.6. What is the meaning, Babaji?
Maybe
I think, yeah.
as I mentioned, right? Bhagavad Gita is like very basic. It'll mention things in a very basic way. The more detailed explanation we'll have to look into Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, or other scriptures. What is Sloka 10 point?
10.6.
Yeah. See, there are actually many things are mentioned. No, like I don't know. It is the opulence of the Lord. It is. Yeah. Okay. So basically, it is mentioned. For example, Krishna says, no, like the sun and the moon are my eyes, right? Like that, many things are told, right? So the universal form of the Lord, it is mentioned by acharyas that the universal form of the Lord is not a permanent form. It's a temporary form, or it's more like an imaginary form of the Lord. That is for the people who cannot meditate on the Supreme Lord as a person. The people who are more inclined to the impersonal understanding, or those kind of people, the universal form is given for their purpose. It is explained actually, and for already ordinary materialistic people, the Lord actually is revealing this form of universal form, where everything in the world or universe is compared to be some part of the body of the Lord. If for example it says that trees are like his hairs, like that, different things are mentioned actually. His navel is this, his hands are like this. So this is actually not the perfect or absolute term, in the sense that way, it is only an intermediate perception. Just like the sun, we can perceive as sunlight, which is not the complete understanding, right? Similarly, it is. So that's why Bhagavad Gita is a preliminary philosophical understanding about all the spiritual topics. Which is the one, Prabhu, which sloka you're telling?
At 10.6, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Manu's progenitor. So Manu is also the progenitor, right? Manus are actually considered as progenitors. The seven great sages, and before them, four other great sages, and the Manus, progenitor of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all living entity being populating the various planets of the Lord is giving chronological synopsis. Brahma, see, Brahma is the original creature born out of the energy of Supreme Lord, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And from Brahma, all other, see, all the seven sages is mentioned here, na Prabhu? Purport. Are you able to see?
No, Prabhuji. I think I'm open in my mobile.
I'll read a purport, Prabhu. You can hear. Okay, the purport is mentioned. The Lord is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Brahma is the original creator, born out of the energy of Supreme Lord, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And from Brahma, all the seven sages, and before them, four other great sages named Sanaga, Sananda, Sanada, Sanadana, and Sanat Kumara. These are the four Kumaras. And the 14 Manus are manifested. All these 25 great sages are known as the patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. There are innumerable universe and the innumerable planets within each universe, and each planet is full of population of different varieties. All of them are born of these 25 patriarchs. Brahma underwent penance for thousands of years of the demigods, and he realized by the grace of Krishna how to create. Then from Brahma came Sanaga, Sanadana, and Sanat Kumara. These are the four Kumaras. Then Rudra, and then the seven sages, Saptarishis. And in this way, all Brahmanas, Kshatriyas are born out of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma is known as Pitamaha, or the grandfather, and Krishna is known as Prapitamaha, the father of the grandfather. That is stated in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Exactly what actually, the same thing what we discussed now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So, devotees, any other questions are there? So, it looks like either everything is clear or nothing is clear because there's no question. So, you can ask some questions. Chitramata ji, Hayati Mata ji. Yes, I'll ask some questions.
I think it is better you ask questions, Prabhuji, because we are either in between or in the beginning stage. I don't know. You please ask the question, Prabhuji. That
I
would
don't
help
know.
me.
For me, it is difficult to ask. No, I don't have a context to ask. What should I ask from? What should I ask? It's difficult. So it's fine actually if you don't have anything. No? See, some doubts if you had already had naturally, during some discussions or some thoughts, no, then you can ask actually. Otherwise, there's no point in artificially trying to ask a question. Not required actually. I don't think I can ask question. I'm not sure actually. See, I don't have a really context to from where I can ask. What should I ask? If there's nothing actually, we can wind up then today's session. But I think this kind of opportunity we may not get always. Now we get some free time to discuss things. So generally we go by Bhakti Vriksha. We cannot have an open session or any topic we can discuss. That opportunity will not be there always. So we can yeah.
Prabhuji, I had viewed in YouTube about the Vaishnavas day-to-day thing. It is as since everyone mentions like from morning we start our japa, do our work, and do this deity seva at home and everything, Prabhuji. I just want to know how will we take care of the deities day-to-day, Prabhuji? Might be it is
Yeah.
higher to me, but still, even if you keep a picture or something like that, we prepare thrice meals and everything, but still, won't anything be left out from yesterday's and something that the day you don't cook, yet you have to offer deities or something like that, Prabhuji?
No, yeah. So, so basically, no, though it is told that the Lord can manifest in different forms, like all are like there are 8 forms, right? We discussed. I think I don't remember exactly what. So one of them is like a wood or metal, right? And then even a picture of the Lord is considered as a manifest representation of Krishna. But from a deity worship perspective, we don't really consider a picture, no, like same as a murti of the Lord, because they are treated. So if you have picture, then there is nothing, not much things to be really followed. No, it may not be very strict. But if you have a deity form of the Lord, then generally we have do some processes, right? For example, we do kirtan, or somehow we call the Lord to be reside in the deity. We call it prana pratishtha, right? But in temple only we do prana pratishtha. But in home we do some kind of another other processes. For example, if it's Gauranta, we do kirtan, or if it is Radha Krishna, Jagannath, we call some brahmanas, no, and then do some process like abhishek, etc. So by the process we actually call the Lord, somehow to be residing in the deity form. So the process for a picture of the Lord and deity is quite different. Okay. For picture, as I mentioned, no, there is nothing much to be really followed actually. But you can do whatever you like. I mean, in a sense, whatever to extend. So same process of deity worship you can do for pictures to the extent it is possible. Sorry, no, it is not that whatever we like we can't do. There's a process actually, right? So basically, in our sampradaya, right, we follow the Pancharatrika Vidhi. So there are like agamas and different Vedic scriptures, which talk about the worship of the Lord. But actually, in the home, it is not so strict as compared to temple. In temple, actually, it's very much more elaborate and more strict process is there. At home, when we invite a deity, if you really have a deity, then when the deity is bought, at that time we decide, what kind of service I'm going to do on a regular basis, right? Every day, what all things I can follow. So based on that, we make a list kind of thing, and we'll tell that okay, these things I'm going to do every day. So you may tell that okay, I once in a day I'll offer something to the Lord. No, maybe what all things, like I'll offer one sweet. No, maybe I'll offer one something. No, some prasada. What all things I'm going. So we make a kind of a sankalpa when we bring the deity. So before bring the deity, only we should have some idea how much I can do, right? And then we say whatever is possible. For example, I will do only once in a month. I will do abhishekam. So whatever a sankalpa we make, saying that this kind of worship I'll do for the deity, and then we try to stick to that worship. So that is how it is actually at home, right? So generally whatever, see, basically they say, according to our capacity and circumstance we should plan. So really having DT means like what is like generally recommended is that we do the abhishekam, not not daily. That's very difficult actually, that process to keep. If it is saligram, then actually we have to do daily. But other deities we cannot do daily abhishekam. No, in a home it is very difficult, and even in temple also they don't do daily, right? So abhishekam you decide, no, maybe once in a month you can do, or no, or in very important festivals you can do, or no, if somebody you do every Ekadashi they do, so or every week they do. So like, whatever it is, generally I think here we do actually, abhishekam we do like no, for initially I think we used to do for Ekadashi. Now I think we do for weekly. So basically whatever is possible we keep. I mean only for Gauranta deities we do abhishekam, right? Jagannath we cannot do. So yeah, so this abhishekam is one thing, and then then another thing is by how frequently we change the dress of the deities, right? So that actually is not very strict actually, based on our capacity, whatever. No, we can have a frequency like every week or every month we can change the dress. Then on a daily basis we, morning, like basically morning we start up with waking the deities, no. So in the night we put the deities to sleep. So there are some mantras actually, we generally sing while we put them to sleep, and then they are taking rest. And then in the morning, we first thing we do is wake up the deities. In temple actually they do more things. When you wake up the deity, you have to give some sweet, there's some mathur parka, and then different things. Process is that how to wake up, what is the sequence. First you have to wake up your spiritual master, then after that you have to wake up in a particular order. So you wake up all the deities. Then actually after that, no, we do arti normally in the morning, mangalarti we do. Then after that, we like, so this is not fixed, Mataji. So based on our capacity, how many times you're offering, it may vary. So maybe if possible, no, you can offer whatever. Everything ideally speaking is that everything that we eat actually has to be offered to the Lord, and we can only offer something which is fresh to the Lord. We cannot keep some food cooked yesterday and offer to that. Not allowed. Whatever is offering, no, if it is cooked food, it has to be freshly cooked, and then first time we are offering to the Lord. We can offer other things like, for example, dry fruits, or other fruits anytime we can offer, right? So based on the capacity we have to do. So like morning we do arti, then we do morning we can offer whatever, breakfast, all the things we make, we can offer to the Lord. Then the lunchtime, whatever we cook again, that's that we can offer to the Lord during the lunchtime. And then in the evening or night, actually whatever again we eat, we can offer to the Lord. So generally the idea is that once we follow a particular standard of offering, then we have to maintain that. So it is always recommended initially in the beginning we should start with a very simple and easy standard, minimum standard we do. Maybe we just offer fruits, for example, right? And then on fruits and dry fruit we start with. Then actually we gradually increase. But everything that has to be offered has to be freshly cooked. That's one thing. Nobody has tasted it, the food, before offering. And of course, we know that we put tulsi leaves, we pray the different mantras before offering to the Lord. We are offering the food to the Lord through the parampara. We are not offering. Our spiritual master is offering. So when we offer, first we invite the spiritual master, and then we think that okay, we are offering it through the spiritual master. So these are the basic things we have to do. Then then evening we do arti. No, and the night we put rest. I told. So this is in the house. Actually, generally it is quite simple. But then when we deal with the deities, we have to be always fresh. Take a bath, be in a fresh situation, and then then we do the service to the deity. So these things, and then when we suppose if we are not able to do because of health reason, then we should have some backup, somebody else who can do it at that time, right? So this kind of things also we have to think how will I manage in different circumstances and situation. Um, yeah,
To keep
that.
Boga also, you have to take bath, Prabhuji, every time. And that is what I was wondering, Prabhuji. For Boga, all the 3 times we have to keep, no, Prabhuji, for Lord?
Mm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what Mataji, whatever we do, we can follow. It's not necessary 3 times we have to do. So once you start a process, no, like let's say only 2 times morning and night you're offering, or let's say only in the afternoon you're offering. So we can start with something like that, and then no, then we can improve as per our. So other times you can offer simple things like dry fruits or normal fruits, cut fruits. No, we can offer during other 2 time, and one time you can offer boga. So the idea is of having the Lord in the house is to say that no, the Lord is the master of the house, right? And everything we are actually, He is observing each and every activity what we are doing, so that no, we become more careful in our devotional life, right? Lord is there, He is watching, and the idea is that the Lord is. We should not think that Lord is a machine, no, which will purify our food. That is not idea. So think that, but that is okay. In the beginning, everybody is like that, no. So because I want to eat something, I like something. For example, I like paneer butter masala. So today I'll make paneer butter masala and I'll offer to the Lord, right? And then the Lord is like a machine; it will purify, and then I'll add a lot of karma. So this is our mentality in the beginning. That is okay, actually. It is better than not doing anything, right? But ideally, after some time, our mentality should change in such a way that no, we have to understand the mood of the Lord, right? And then we should offer what the Lord likes, for example, right? No, at least minimum thing we can do, put our interest out, and no, and then cook something actually which probably which actually the Lord also likes, for example, like that. It should not be no, I bought something, now I will offer and eat. That is better than not offering, of course. But that
Okay.
mentality should gradually change.
Okay.
So
Okay.
actually, see, if you have real deities only, Mataji, that high standard is required. Otherwise, no, the standard is little less. Whatever
Uh,
we can do, we can do. So if there are
Prabhuji,
deities are there, then first of all, before cooking itself, we should take a bath, right?
oh,
And after cooking, after taking bath, we should freshly, without any contamination, we should cook and then offer to the Lord. Like that actually is a process, really. If there are real deities.
I have a deity in mud, Prabhuji, actually, for Krishna Jayanti. I bought it without that knowledge earlier when I didn't know anything about it. And there is a brass deity which is from my mother-in-law's thing. And what I do is every day morning after bath, I keep water, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So that's what whatever is possible. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, so he told that no patram pushpam phalam toyam, right? Yomi bhaktya prayachari tadam, right? That bhakti bhagavatam, right? Ashnami prayadatmana. So he's also ready to accept whatever is basic things. But as we progress, we should have a desire that I will offer better things, and then gradually we should improve our standard. And the DT also should be like according to our parampara, what actually it is we know, right? We should have Gornita deities to start with. First, you should have Gornita because they are more merciful, and if you do some small seva aparad, they are actually forgiving, they'll forgive you, it's not a problem offense. So that's why first we should get Gorantai. If you have mud DT just like that, if you got, we may not necessarily consider them as proper DTs. You can just have it actually, but it may not probably be the, see, we should have like Radha Krishna deities ideally for higher worship of standard, or Jagannath Baldev, or Gorantai. So start with Gorantai, then next is Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, then after that Radha Krishna. Not necessary to worship Radha Krishna, just having Gorantai also is fine. All the life we can worship Gorantai. And then when the Lord wants to come, he will come somehow. If Jagannath wants to come at some point in time, he will create an opportunity and he'll come to your life. Or Radha Krishna has to come, he will come. So we don't have to really, explicitly go and search for the details. So Gauratai we can get somehow. If you have decided to worship Gauratai, he also will come somehow or other to some other devotee's mercy, or somehow or other he will come. So deities coming, deities coming to our house or to our life is No, it's like Lord coming to our life. No, it is not just like, no, we go, we have some money, and I go and purchase a DT from anywhere, and that actually also we can do, but I know that is not generally it happens differently. By some Lord's arrangement, they come actually. That's how it generally it happens.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah. So we
Thank you.
have to have a desire, and then a desire should, when it becomes very sincere and mature, then the Lord will come somehow or other. He'll appear.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Krishna Mataji. Okay, devotees. Anybody else? Any questions are there? Okay. Chitra Mataji, you now you are chanting 16 rounds, Mataji, or how many rounds you chant? 10.
16, Prabhuji. I
Okay.
increased to 16 about 2 weeks back.
Okay, Mataji. Very nice. You have taken Mataji Shiksha?
No,
How many
no,
rounds?
Prabhuji. Not
Okay.
yet.
Okay, Mataji. Yeah, good. So, okay, devotees, then Bharati Mataji, are you there?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Sorry.
Prabhuji. I chant 8 rounds, Prabhuji. 8,
Okay,
9
Mataji.
rounds.
You
I
you are
have
reading.
given the
Yeah.
paper. I have given the paper to Mataji. Pranasakhi
Okay.
Mataji I have given.
Nice, Mataji. So you also read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam?
I read not so much, Prabhuji, not every day. Once or twice in a week I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji. You're working, Mataji? Teaching, no?
Yeah, I'm teaching
Yes.
in Bethany Heights. I'm teaching, sir.
Yeah. Okay, Mataji. Yeah. So that's what actually. So all these things, no. See, basically, we read. Reading is very important. No, reading is a starting process. Hearing is like reading only. Shravanam Kirtanam, right? So these are all different angas of bhakti which our acharya has given, and we should see when, because as we see nowadays, no, so many calamities are there, right? Pandemic, where actually many people are very serious. Many devotees, no, who are not very serious, they are becoming very very serious now, because whenever they see that they face the difficulty, right? They see the death very closely, whether they are hospitalized, no, or or they see their relatives passing away. Actually, that gives a very no stern reminder actually to us, because nobody knows how much time is really left. No, we generally take it for granted, thinking that okay, a lot of time is there. We'll do whenever it's liking. So these are all no, like I can practically see that in our congregation only so many devotees have become very serious suddenly, because they had to go through difficulty. So we should not wait for a reminder. No, we should not force the Lord to send a reminder like that, or put us into a condition where we'll be forced to be serious. So when there is an opportunity, I think we should understand it from others' experience, and and then take it very seriously. Right. So I think whenever we are serious, right, generally what we do when we do any serious things, we are more systematic. So in devotional life also, we have to try to become more systematic, no, rather than becoming just casual, no. Okay, whenever I am having time, I'll do something. So rather than that, I think we should make a timetable in our life every day. Like we tell children, right, when they are preparing for exam, make a timetable. So I think we should also make a timetable, and no, and then if you really look, everybody has 24 hours. No, it doesn't matter whether you are a Narendra Modi or no, or Bed and Job Eden or whoever it is, like, and even the farmer also has 24 hours, right? So the question is that nobody can get more than that, and we don't get less also. So we maybe practically, we may have get 8 hours if you remove. No, we have the remaining 8 to 16 hours, right? 16 hours everybody has. So I think that's quite a long time. In that actually, it is very difficult to, like it is very unlikely that we can't spare like 1 hour, or no, like 2 or 3 hours, whatever it is, right? So we should somehow keep minimum this much time. We should decide what is practical. This much time I'll spend for devotional activity. So according to pure, like acharyas, we have to spend at least 8 hours is what is recommended actually, because if you divide into three categories, the life, one day is into three parts, like 8, like the 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. So 8 hours is for sleeping. Actually, for devotees, no, they sleep only 6 hours ideally. So 2 hours you are saving there. Then 8 hours we need for our material life, doing various things like cooking, or not working in the office or whatever, all these things. And then the rest of the 8 hours actually is meant for spiritual activity. So this is the minimum required if you want to go back to Krishna, right? But actually we are not able to do, definitely, it's very difficult. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was a very busy man. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is spiritual master of his father of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? Who is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a magistrate, many like in the last century he was, and then he was extremely busy, like every day. But actually he used to spend so much time actually, like 12 to 16 hours he used to spend on devotional service, right? He used to go to the court, and then in the court he was the most efficient magistrate. He used to dispose the maximum number of court every day, every year. Every day so many cases come, right? He used to dispose the maximum cases, and then everybody was very surprised. The British authorities, they used to think. So he was exemplary in his work, and also he was an exemplary in his devotional service. So actually actually there is time. Only thing is that, no, because we are not systematic, or we don't plan, we don't see the time going actually where it is going. We just pass the time in various activities. So I think when we are serious, really we are convinced that, no, because we see in front of us, so many people are dying away, passing away. It can happen anytime into us also. So we should really dedicate some time. Whatever time I can do beginning, don't do something like 8 hours in the beginning. It's not possible. So start with maybe 3 hours or 2 hours, whatever is possible, and then in 2 hours, you have some time for chanting. Like, if you are chanting eight rounds, I know you may need 1 hour. I don't know, depends on how fast we chant, right? And 16 rounds you may need 2 hours or 2.5 hours, or some people can chant even 1.5 hours. So, but with good quality, we should chant. Maybe 1.5 hours we can keep for chanting. Then 1.5 hours you have extra. You can do reading actually, hearing and reading we can do. So these are the two fundamental things very important for our devotional life. Because if we don't hear, no, our conviction will not be so great. No, we don't understand the philosophy, right? Why are we doing? And also Srimad Bhagavatam is considered as the Lord himself, right? We are associating with the Lord when we read Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're getting association, right? And then of course we are attending some programs. No, for that also we need some time, right? Devotee association, Vaishnava association is very, very important, because that is what we give us motivation and faith. Because we see that other devotees are progressing, they are having faith, they are doing things, so that motivates us, to make progress. So like that we have to plan actually. Once you understand that, okay, this is very important for me, or this is the most important thing in our life, then I think we should earmark time. And I think it's good to have if possible, with along with your other family members, you should create a timetable saying that, okay, this time is for this purpose, so that other people also know that, okay, you are not available. No, which is a time which others are not disturbed, right? You have to do our duties. For example, we have to cook, with children are there, you have to take care of them, right? So that,
Yes,
no, so at some time, but I think always in 16 hours, we can find some time. 3 hours actually it's possible. I think it's not very difficult for anyone.
Okay, Prabhuji, I will try, Prabhuji. I will
Nah,
try.
I'm
Surely,
not telling
surely.
you. I'm not only telling you, Mataji. I'm telling all people, including myself. So because when we are generally preaching to others, it is also preaching to myself also sometimes, right? It is not. So we have to do it actually, so that we get time like that. Well, if you want to give excuse, now we can find so many excuses always. So I think the seriousness is important in our how much focused and serious are we, and then prioritization, how much priority we are giving to devotion service, right? Because this is the only thing which actually is coming. Only thing that I can carry after this lifetime is my devotional service, right? So this is the only thing. This is your best friend. Devotional service is your best friend, and nothing or everything else is not. Nobody will be able to come with you, right? Even your close relative, children, parents, nobody can come with us. Only that would go with us is our devotional service. It's the best friend. So we can invest more on the best friend, right? Even if you are not able to go back to Krishna in one lifetime, whatever we make progress we make, it is actually remaining in our account, right? And then we can continue from that point. But Prabhupada always used to tell that, no, don't take a chance, like finish the business in this lifetime, right? In this lifetime only we should try to do that, because that is the best bargain, best possibility of success. Next life is always a gamble, right? We don't know. Even though we may continue, may get an opportunity, we don't know, right? We will be able to utilize it. So that's why it's a risk. So yeah, so I think we should I think we should follow, if try to have a timetable in life, saying that, no, what activities I'll do at what time, and reserve the time for that. So we can wind up there. If there are no more questions, anybody has any other questions, I'll then otherwise we can chant one round and then we can wind up. Okay. Anybody, Sushil Prabhu, would you like to read the chanting?